Hello everyone. So today we will be seeing the types of attributes. So when we are drawing an ER diagram, you know how to symbolize an entity. So on the top of it, we are representing some properties in the terms by using the symbol called ellipse. But we do have some types for that. Now let's see the types one by one. So you might be knowing what is an attribute. So whenever if you want to describe what is this entity is about, what all properties are there, we need a concept called attributes. So in entity relation model, yard model, we represent the attribute by using the ellipse shape. See this thing. So we do have some types of attributes. So simple attribute, composite attribute, single valued attribute, multi-valued attribute, derived attribute, and lastly key attribute. Now let's see these things one by one. So everything differs from each other. Now, first one is simple attribute. So, simple attribute is nothing but if we are going to refer a particular attribute or particular feature, we cannot divide them into further components, which means when I say this example, see this example. So, student is the entity. So, student has this much properties, which means roll number is one of the property, name is another type of a property, class is another type of a property. Now, here, which means that this roll number we cannot further decompose that particular attribute. So like that, another example I could say that in name, this particular attribute I can divide. Okay, I can divide. How can I divide means some forms, when you fill some forms, or when you just do or fill some survey, some attributes you will see like enter your first name, enter your middle name, enter your last name, which means all these peoples are coming from a single attribute called name. But how the way that they are dividing the data, I mean the attribute, which means into first name, middle name, and last name, which means they are dividing that particular attribute into three components. So here this is just for an example. So simple attribute is like we cannot further divide the attribute, is what we call it as a simple attribute. Now what is the composite attribute? Just the opposite of the simple attribute, which means here we can divide the attribute into further components, which means this thing. This is another example. Here name is also possible, address is also possible. So when a particular address is showing, we can, why can't we divide it into city, state, and street? So in order to type in a text area, this field we can include these three fields like state, city, state, and street, because this particular attribute can be further, it can be composed of. But here in the case of simple attribute, that is not possible. So if you're studying means you can study these two things, like you can compare it and study, so you will get a proper understanding. Then comes the single valued attribute. So single valued attribute is nothing but we cannot add more than one values in a cell, because there is no possibility, because in a DBM, in a database, we cannot add a particular value separated with comma. That is not possible. Even though if you add a comma, error will be coming. So I can just explain what is a multi-valued, so you will get a clear understanding what is a single valued attribute. So in a multi-valued attribute, see, there might be a possibility a person can have more than one phone number, or a person can have more than one email addresses. So that particular thing will be coming under multi-valued attribute. But again, as I said before, in a particular cell, multiple values are not possible. So the another solution is we need to again add a new column for phone number 1 and phone number 2. That is the only possible solution, because comma is not being supported. That is for NoSQL purposes. So here the thing is that there might be a possible way that a person can have more than one phone numbers. So it is represented by double ellipse. Now what will be the single valued attribute, which means only it accepts only a single value. Then comes the derived attribute. Derived attribute is nothing but we are going to calculate something. So aggregate functions will come under this particular derived attribute, because very simple example, if we have the salary, if we have the column called salary, definitely we can find sum, or we can find the average. So everything is possible. Now when it comes to our highest salary or minimum salary, so how we are getting this? From the existing column. So because of the existing column only, we were able to calculate the sum, the average, or the, what we can say, the minimum, the maximum, whatever thing is, whatever aggregate function is, if it is, we were only be able to calculate based on the column. See, then another example is DOB. From the DOB, easily we will be able to derive age. So normally this is like dotted ellipse. This is represented by using the symbol dotted ellipse. Now the last one is the key attribute. So key attribute is it's like a particular attribute which is having a primary key. So in this particular example, this is very much clear that roll number is a primary key and it should be underlined. Then only we will be able to understand that particular table is having a primary key. So this is just an ER diagram for a single table. Okay, we are not connecting with another table. So here in this particular table, like before connecting a table, if a person is looking to your ER diagram, he should be very much clear that okay, your table is containing a primary key. So in foreign key we doesn't have any representation, but in primary key we have representation, which means inside this ellipse you need to write the attribute name, along with it should be underlined. Now that is the symbol of a key attribute. So these are the types of attributes that we have seen. So simple attribute, composite attribute, single valued, multi-valued, derived, and key attribute. So everything you can compare it and study, so you will get a better understanding. So that's it guys. Thank you so much.